Welcome YouTube. We are going to explore the thought process of the international master. And the opening is going to be the Sicilian defense, an opening that I always promote as such, that you need to embrace and play instead of avoiding by all kinds of weird gambits and close Sicilian and yada yada yada. No. Embrace it. Go Sicilian. This is called the Taimanov variation or the Paulsen, and I usually play two different variations. One of them is the G3 one, the other one is the Bishop E2 one. In appearance, both of them are rather shy, but actually the Bishop E2 one either takes us back to the main line Scheveningen. Queen of, yeah, I have seen Queen of 3 lines. He needs to play a6. We both forgot that a6. Did I miss knight b5 here? Maybe not yet, but he needs to play a6 here. So yeah, after bishop e2, if he plays at one point d6, we go back into the Scheveningen setups, which I can turn quite aggressive. Or if he plays here a6, bishop e3, bishop b4, which is the main line, then knight a4 is a very exciting positional pawn sacrifice. So at this point he needs to make a call, whether it's going to be the Scheveningen or the bishop b4 staying in the Taimanov. Karpov played a few very instructive games. No, he goes Scheveningen. And so now we are going to go back to a childhood favorite of mine, the Queen e1 variation, which actually has a very cool story that I'm going to share with you. When I learned this variation for the first time in my life, my chess coach by then was Dr. Laszlo Hazai, who was formerly the chess coach of the Polgar sisters. And actually, he gave me the handwritten files from Sofia Polgar. She did a handwritten file on this variation together with Judith, and I had the handwritten version of that file, and that's where I learned this line from. So yeah, that was quite cool. Even as I think back of it now, I remember it was in a blue sleeve. I kept it, and I regularly revisited that file. Somehow I really enjoyed learning chess variations from manual files. Now that you are asking whether I still have it, I don't know, because at one point I threw out. So it was quite amazing, like you wouldn't believe back in the day. But the beginning of my chess career, when I started learning chess, coincided with the computer boom, if you will. But when I started working with Hazai, he had a computer, I didn't. And so what happened was that whenever he wanted me to learn opening variations, he would print off the Chessbase files for me. Right? Now, what you need to know is also that by the time I started working with him, he was also the second of Boris Gelfand. No less than Boris Gelfand. And so those opening variations were worked out to perfection, and they were huge. So when he printed these things off, they were absolutely monster-sized files. And he had a friend who worked for a hospital, a nearby hospital, and they had a lot of paper wastage because they printed off a lot of EKGs, electrocardiograms, which is that funky line. But on the paper, they were very faint. So essentially, the paper was reusable. And it was not like an A4, but it was like a paper roll of like 20 meters long. And so what he would do is that he would actually put this paper inside his printer, and he would print my opening files on top of the electrocardiograms, because the writing of the moves was a lot more in your face. So it made the EKG, the electrocardiograms, even fainter, and so you could easily read the moves. And so I had like sleeves like this thick, about 10 of them, like this much was my opening files, all of them printed on electrocardiograms. Every single one of them, with the one exception which was the Sofia Polgar handwritten Sicilian Scheveningen file. So yeah, that was quite something to have at the time. Yeah, well, I forgot to talk about the game. So I think b5 is inaccurate here because after takes, like I played it, now he has got serious issues on this diagonal, I think. But maybe I rushed it because potentially he has an e5 pawn sack. Maybe. And also if the knight goes, then after e5, d5... that may be somewhat playable for black, although f5 looks very delicious. Yeah, so unfortunately, and yeah, so the point was that at one point I got rid of with all those printed off chess files that were printed on these electrocardiograms because I later on purchased a computer, or rather my parents did actually, to be fair, for me. And so then he started giving me the files on those little discs, by the way, if you still remember. And so, yeah, after that I didn't need that. And so he gave me the file of the Scheveningen as well. So I may have chucked it out actually, not thinking what an immense value it could be one day. Now I am torn between take bishop d4, which is positional with the threat of knight takes d5, or e5 right away, and then knight d7 and then do the f5 thing. I cannot credit my chess development for either. It was the content that was on it, not how it was presented to me. Like either way, it ended up on my chessboard. So I put the print of files I played out on the chessboard, and even when we moved on to the computer, I prefer to play outlines on the computer. Bugger, I forgot to reckon with this move. I'm not happy. I'm not happy that I missed this. Hello, Whiskey Pete. So maybe we should have taken and then bishop d4. I decided not to do it because bishop c5. But after queen f2 take, that's a whooping lead for white. Whereas now, oh man. I have to tell you that being good at chess is a lot better than being bad at it. And currently I'm demonstrating to you how to be bad at it. There's not a lot of room for creativity either here. Okay, let's do this. I'm hating myself for doing this, but I feel like I have to. Oh boy. I don't know if this was necessary either, but I wanted to wait for bishop b7 because then there might be an opening for f5. But I also need to be careful because if I move the rook anywhere, then he might have tactical opportunities based on taking this. Neve Toth, if you are referring to the pawn structure videos, it's a total disaster, man. It's an absolute disaster. Like, it has got like 1,300 views on it. It's a total failure. Okay, my esteemed opponent is keen on going after me, so to speak. And so I'm going to engage with a very exciting pawn sacrifice. Actually, this is something that I think is very well worth pointing out, and that is that when the trend in the game changes not to your favor. Like, I don't really like my position. I don't really like what's happening now. I don't have attacking opportunities. I have a bad bishop. And now what I'm trying to do by playing knight e2 is to turn the trend, to change the nature of the game by sacking a pawn, potentially 2, but activating all my pieces and preparing for an f5 bishop h6 attack that could potentially turn things around. And I think that this is a bad move here, because now I'm going to get a d4 outpost for my knight. So I think he should have potentially taken one of the pawns and maybe then go back. Because as long as the bishop is on c8, f5, ef, I mean, okay, bishop h6, maybe he needs to sack an exchange there, but I would prefer to be black there too. But this one, the immediate retreat to c5 is weird to me, because now after we trade this off, knight d4, and I'm plugging the whole position in the dark squares. Yeah, I agree, of course. I mean, there was a reason why I did this. So take knight d4, queen c7, rook c1, maybe queen e7. But I don't see why that would be dead loss for black. It's annoying, but that's exactly what I'm trying to do for sure. Okay, a5 is logical. So now I shall take knight d4. Maybe he wants bishop a6. But again, as soon as the bishop abandons this diagonal, we have got lots of... Chess of Warriors, the pro. Thank you, dude. We have chances there, so let's do this. Thank you for tuning in, brother. So the only thing I'm not sure of is whether I want to go rook e1 or rook f2. Actually, I'm 100% certain I will go rook f2 for 2 reasons. 1, I want the rook to support the f5 push. 2, the rook on f2 covers the b2 pawn, so that when it starts piling up on my pawn, I have got a piece that is an awesome defender and attacker at the same time. Okay, g6. Now we have b4, because the pawn is pinned. Not that I would want to make this a backward pawn, but I wanted to show off. So h4, h5 appears to be quite annoying. Or is it? Okay, let's keep them busy. Let's keep them busy. It's always a good policy to keep them busy. So I wanted to put one rook here and one rook here just to hold the e3 push. Although most of the times I don't think it is doable, but just to be on the safer side. And now we are back to f5 being a potential threat. I was hoping he would do this because I thought this was an unnecessary weakening. Now we have got already 96 ideas. Take, check. I then pick off this with a check. So if I played here, rook here, even then I can't bring the rook because the queen is covering e3 as well. Okay. And there is also f5 here, of course. Okay, let's do this again. Take, check, king h8. Check, king here, check. If king f7, then check, king he check. And then rook check, but that gets blocked by bishop d3. Close. Okay, so take, check, he check. Let's go. Let's say they go back. Yeah, I don't have a way to bring the rook in. I feel like it's a bit caveman if I do this, and then I'm hoping to use this. But at the same time, that's the rook that is not playing, so let's bring it. Let's bring all the boys to the party in true Yasser spirit, and then we'll take it from there. Neve Storth, in the last 6 months, which of my videos? I mean, I've made a few videos that proved to be very popular in recent months. In particular, the book reviews. Not the individual one, but sorry, the book recommendation videos have been very popular, for sure. Thank you, Chamboard, for the follow. It was not a matter of guts, Kerry. It was a matter of calculation. I don't like to put it like you don't have the guts, because it's still not to have the guts, because if it works, then it's the game of your life. If it doesn't, no one cares. So it's very foolish, in my opinion, to... If you want to do it and you think it's right, but you don't do it, that's just like, why wouldn't you, man? Jean Valjean, thank you very much. As a literature major, you speak to me, Mr. Jean Valjean. Now is the time to pull the trigger, ladies. F5. Takes, knight takes, queen takes, check, and then mate. Course recommendation. Well, I actually have made one already, so we might get there. I warmly welcome the Tinder girls in the chat, and once again, thank you to Jean Valjean for showing up. And as for F5, the idea is crystal clear. We want to break them. So this is a threat, this is a threat, and if either takes, I've got knight F5. Actually, there he has queen E5. Because then queen H6, king here, and I don't have mate because the queen covers it. So I might have to take it with the rook. Which then leaves us in a somewhat interesting situation where we seemingly don't have a threat. So let me see this again. So knight takes, queen takes. Check, king back. Yeah, I don't think it's good. I don't think it's good, man. Yeah, it has to be rook. It has to be rook. I think knight F5, queen E5 was a very annoying defensive source. Oh, baby! Queen Saccarino! Look at that! Oh no, it doesn't work. Bugger. Check. Oh man, I wanted to go check, check, check. King here and mate. But unfortunately, after take, he has got king G6. Oh man. Oh man, the heartbreak is real. The heartbreak is real. I have to go rook F6. Ah, bugger. That was so sweet. Would have been, rather. Mind you, he also would have had king G7, so... Yeah. Oh, man. Next time. Next time. But yeah, I disagree with calling it guts. It's not a question of guts. You want to do this. That your guts are telling you to actually do this. Your guts can't stop you from this. Only your brain can. Because if your brain proves it wrong, or it can't prove it right enough, which was the case, that's what happens. But nah, guts definitely not proving that. Or guts definitely not holding you back. I thought knight F5 here was a win, but queen F8 still holds. Huh. Unreal. So we have just E6, yeah? Yeah. Okay. Okay, this is carnage now. It's a textbook case when a bishop that looks so good initially on D3, like here, you feel like, oh, this is a monster. But the reality is that it's actually not partaking in the game at all and only covers meaningless squares. And so, yeah, it's not quite cutting it. Okay, this is now over. GG. And then there's check here too. But knight F5 might be even better actually after king G7. Yeah, this is the sexy. Because if I go here, he still takes and hopes to flag me. But now, it's actually mate. So check. And now if he blocks, then I can take, and the pawn still marches on. So, I hope that YouTube enjoyed this. We had a bit of a good story time during the game, so I will cut the recording here. Thanks for watching this video. Bye.